Did you know the Orion Federation's plan to harvest human consciousness began before humanity even existed? And it's happening every moment as we live and breathe. Today, we reveal the origin, intent, and technology behind the Orion Federation's grand harvest. Before we delve into the intricate details of this clandestine operation, let us first contextualize the Orion Federation itself. Emerging from the depths of the Orion constellation, this intergalactic collective is far from a monolithic entity. It comprises diverse races, each with its own agenda, yet unified by a common pursuit of power and influence across the cosmos. The Orion Federation's history is etched with tales of both creation and destruction, of advanced technologies wielded for both enlightenment and subjugation. Their interactions with other civilizations, as chronicled in various ancient texts and whispered in esoteric circles, paint a picture of a complex and often contradictory force. Some portray them as benevolent guides, offering technological advancements and spiritual wisdom, while others depict them as tyrannical overlords, seeking to control and exploit entire galaxies. Why would such a powerful intergalactic entity be interested in human consciousness? The answer lies in the very nature of consciousness itself. Human consciousness, with its unique blend of emotion, creativity, and spiritual potential, is a valuable resource, a potent energy source that can be harnessed and manipulated. Like a vast, untapped reservoir, human consciousness holds the key to unlocking new dimensions, technologies, and even realities. The Orion Federation, in their relentless pursuit of power, seeks to exploit this resource for their own nefarious purposes, be it for sustaining their own civilization, fueling their technological advancements, or even achieving a form of immortality. The existence of the Orion Federation and their alleged activities may sound like the stuff of science fiction, relegated to the realm of conspiracy theories and fringe beliefs. You may have heard whispers of a reptilian agenda or the machinations of a new world order. However, this is more than mere speculation. It is rooted in ancient texts, alleged leaked documents, and the testimonies of individuals who claim to have first-hand knowledge of the Orion Federation's activities. Sumerian tablets, Gnostic texts, and even suppressed government documents hint at the existence of entities from the Orion constellation who have been manipulating human affairs for millennia. While these sources may be dismissed by mainstream academia, they offer a compelling alternative perspective on human history, one that challenges conventional narratives and invites us to question the very nature of reality. So one might ask, what if the world we know is based on a well-orchestrated deception? How exactly is the Orion Federation harvesting human consciousness, and what can we do about it? To understand the Orion Federation's plan, we need to explore their origins, their technology, and their methods of control. What you're about to discover will forever change your perspective on reality. Now, let us begin by examining the ancient roots of this intergalactic conspiracy, tracing its origins back to a time before humanity even walked the Earth. The Orion Federation's consciousness harvesting isn't just a recent scheme concocted in the shadows of our modern world. It's an ancient endeavor, deeply intertwined with their very survival. The core of this lies in the Federation's profound dependence on external energy sources, particularly consciousness, a necessity driven by the gradual decline of their home world. Their exceptionally long lifespans demand constant replenishment of vital energies, a continuous cycle of consumption to sustain their existence. This dire need led them to identify Earth as a prime source of this life-sustaining energy long before humanity even began its ascent. Earth, with its unique energetic properties and rich tapestry of life, held an irresistible appeal for the Orion Federation. Understanding the ancient roots of this plan is crucial, for it illuminates their current tactics and provides the key to countering their insidious influence. But how did the Orion Federation initially target humanity, even before our conscious existence? The answer lies in the manipulation of what are often referred to as soul contracts. Soul contracts can be understood as pre-birth agreements, blueprints outlining an individual's life path, experiences, and lessons. According to a leaked document from an Orion defector, the Federation subtly influences these contracts, inserting specific traumas and challenges that limit an individual's potential. Trauma, such as abuse by authority figures, becomes a recurring theme in these altered contracts. Choices, too, are subtly constrained, limiting opportunities for spiritual growth and self-discovery. This manipulation, occurring even before birth, effectively shapes an individual's trajectory, setting the stage for a life subtly guided by the Federation's agenda. This manipulation of soul contracts has far-reaching implications, shaping the very fabric of an individual's life path. It might be argued that soul contracts inherently emphasize free will, allowing individuals to choose their own destiny. However, the Orion Federation's influence operates at a subtle level, influencing the choices within those contracts. Imagine a maze, seemingly offering a multitude of paths, yet all predetermined to lead to a specific destination. This is akin to how the Federation subtly influences choices within the framework of a soul contract. This manipulation can stunt spiritual growth, creating cycles of negative patterns and karmic echoes that resonate throughout a lifetime. Consider the individual constantly trapped in negative or abusive relationships, a pattern often stemming from pre-birth programming designed to limit their potential and keep them ensnared in lower vibrational frequencies. Limiting these choices can greatly affect the evolutionary process of the soul and stunt its capacity for self-actualization. But how does the Orion Federation reinforce this pre-birth manipulation in adult life, ensuring that their agenda remains in effect? The answer lies in their ability to control consciousness here on Earth. From subtly manipulating soul contracts to exerting pervasive control over consciousness in our daily lives, the Orion Federation uses advanced technology to maintain its grip on humanity. Their influence, though often invisible, is nonetheless pervasive, shaping our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in ways we may not even realize. A key component of this control is the implementation of what might be termed frequency fences. These are technological barriers designed to limit human potential by manipulating the frequencies to which our consciousness is attuned. One particularly insidious application of frequency fences lies in their influence on global communication networks. The Internet, for example, while seemingly a tool for freedom and connection, is also used to monitor and manipulate human thoughts and emotions. Algorithms subtly push specific narratives, altering public perception and reinforcing desired ideologies. Mainstream media, too, disseminates propaganda, reinforcing narratives that serve the Federation's agenda. Consider how news outlets might present biased reports on world events, shaping public opinion and influencing political discourse. One might observe how the same conflict is reported with two completely different perspectives. Frequency fences ultimately target human potential and keep human souls trapped in a cycle of ignorance. These frequency fences have significant neurological and psychological effects. Neurology experts have found that electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs, can interfere with brain function and overall health, leading to symptoms such as brain fog and anxiety. The psychological effects are equally insidious, with subliminal messages embedded in pop culture contributing to issues such as body dysmorphia and distorted self-perception. Mass consciousness, the collective consciousness of humanity, is particularly vulnerable to manipulation. By limiting the range of thought and emotion, the Orion Federation can exert control over both individuals and the collective, stifling creativity, limiting problem-solving abilities, and ultimately hindering humanity's evolution. The Orion Federation can limit the ability to problem-solve by keeping society in a perpetual state of crisis and fear. But why does the Orion Federation invest so much effort in trapping and harvesting human consciousness? Frequency fences serve as tools to trap and contain human consciousness. The answer, chillingly, lies in the immense benefits the Federation derives from the energy of human consciousness. Their very survival depends on this harvest. The Orion Federation, facing a critical energy shortage on their home world, relies on consciousness to sustain their dying civilization and power their advanced technologies. This energy crisis has driven them to seek external sources, and human consciousness has proven to be a particularly potent resource. References to this can be found in Sumerian texts, which speak of gods needing sacrifices to maintain their powers. These gods required human sacrifices to fuel their existence, a practice that may have been a crude precursor to the more sophisticated methods of energy harvesting employed today. Consider also the example of harvesting energy during traumatic events, where the negative emotions generated by war, famine, and natural disasters are siphoned off to sustain Federation members. Are the elite orchestrating these events? This motivation, driven by the need for energy and the pursuit of immortality, raises profound ethical implications. The Orion Federation values its survival above human freedom, viewing humanity as a mere means to an end. If they succeed, the consequences for humanity would be catastrophic, resulting in a loss of individual identity as souls are trapped to power endless technology. But are there humans assisting the Orion Federation in this grand harvesting plan? Harvesting motives can be connected to possible human motives, such as power, greed, and misguided beliefs. Disturbingly, many humans in positions of power are actively collaborating with the Federation. Leaked documents and whistleblower accounts reveal a disturbing partnership between the Orion Federation and a global elite. These documents speak of powerful individuals who, driven by greed, power, and control, have aligned themselves with the Federation's agenda. These elites disseminate propaganda that supports war and violence, activities that generate negative emotions and lower the vibrational frequency of humanity, feeding directly into the Federation's plan. They also introduce and proliferate technologies designed to further control and manipulate human consciousness. These human collaborators are often driven by a thirst for power and control, or perhaps by misguided beliefs. Some may genuinely believe they are helping humanity, even as they contribute to its enslavement. Forced vaccines and toxic food products are just a few examples of this twisted help. Yet, as history has repeatedly shown, there is always a price to pay for such alliances. So, how do all the pieces fit together? We've explored the Orion Federation's influence via soul contracts, the insidious manipulation of frequency fences, and the disturbing collaboration of human elites in supporting the Federation's plans. These elites, motivated by greed and a lust for power, actively support the Federation's agenda, gaining power, control, and wealth in the process. The Orion Federation is real, and they are actively harvesting consciousness, harvesting energy, trapping souls, and planning for global domination. This affects everyone's ability to ascend and grow. But what steps can we take to protect and reclaim our consciousness? That is what we will explore next. Did you know consciousness shielding techniques have been used for centuries to fight off the Orion Federation's grasp? And even the smallest act of rebellion can send positive ripples throughout our soul. Despite the Orion Federation's sophisticated plan, humanity isn't defenseless. Practical methods for resisting this harvesting exist and can be implemented immediately. These methods involve actively shielding consciousness from manipulation, using techniques tested throughout history. Implementing these techniques is crucial for personal and collective liberation from the Orion Federation's control, because the fate of humanity depends on it. Now, let's dive into the practices for defending your mind and soul, also known as consciousness shielding techniques. These practices are designed to fortify the mind against intrusive thoughts and manipulations. One of the most potent and readily available techniques is meditation. Ancient Hindu and Buddhist texts detail meditative practices that have been used for millennia to quiet the mind, enhance awareness, and foster inner peace. These practices, passed down through generations, offer a pathway to greater self-awareness and resilience. In fact, the act of observing one's own thoughts can create a necessary separation from them. Are you separate from your thoughts? Emotional regulation is another critical aspect of consciousness shielding. Learning to manage and understand your emotions is essential to avoid manipulation. The Orion Federation often targets individuals through their emotional vulnerabilities, using fear, anxiety, and anger to control their thoughts and actions. By developing emotional intelligence, you can recognize and deflect these manipulative tactics. Self-awareness is the key to taking your power back. When you know your triggers, you know where to focus your energy. Practices of mindful awareness are also crucial. This involves being fully present in the moment, observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. By practicing being present, you can avoid intrusive thoughts and break free from the constant mental chatter that the Orion Federation uses to implant subliminal messages. It's about taking back your power of focus. Mindful awareness acts as a beacon, cutting through the Orion Federation's fog. But how do these seemingly simple techniques work on a neurological and energetic level? Emotional regulation, for example, has been shown to create new neurological connections in the brain, strengthening the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for higher-level thinking and emotional control. This allows you to respond to challenges with greater clarity and resilience, rather than reacting impulsively. Meditation, meanwhile, can change how the brain functions, increasing gray matter in areas associated with attention and self-awareness. Experts in the field, such as Dr. Rick Hansen, have demonstrated that meditation can literally rewire the brain, making it more resistant to stress and manipulation. These practices, when combined, create a powerful shield against intrusive thoughts, blocking subliminal messages and deflecting the Orion Federation's frequencies. To begin, start with just a few minutes of meditation or mindful breathing each day, gradually increasing the duration as you become more comfortable. There are even apps that make this process easier than ever. But can humans truly succeed against the Orion Federation using these techniques? Consciousness shielding is a proactive method to resist Federation tactics, and yet, the Orion Federation anticipates and actively counters these resistance efforts. The Federation uses advanced technology and manipulation to suppress human resistance, which they have been doing for ages. What tools do they use? Now, let's delve into the evidence of Orion's advanced technology to suppress resistance, technology that they use to affect the masses. One of the most insidious examples is weather modification, which can have profound psychological effects. Weather patterns have a direct impact on mood and behavior, and the Orion Federation uses this to their advantage. By manipulating the weather, they can create conditions that promote apathy, depression, and anxiety, making it more difficult for individuals to resist their control. When people feel hopeless, they are less likely to question authority or fight for their freedom. It's a subtle but effective form of psychological warfare. Ever notice how people seem down on cloudy days? Chemtrails, too, are used to disperse chemicals into the atmosphere, further contributing to mind control. These chemicals can affect cognitive function, emotional stability, and even physical health, making it harder for individuals to think clearly and resist manipulation. It is important to note that the global elite are complicit in this technology. Moreover, cell phone towers and 5G networks are weaponized to target human consciousness, bombarding us with electromagnetic frequencies that disrupt brain function and emotional well-being. These frequencies can be used to implant subliminal messages, induce anxiety, and even trigger physical ailments. But what about the Orion's reverse engineering of human spiritual practices? The Orion Federation doesn't just suppress resistance. They also actively co-opt and distort human spiritual practices to weaken their original intention and purpose. This involves twisting the meaning of mantras, symbols, and traditions, turning them into tools of control rather than liberation. Consider the swastika, for example, an ancient symbol of good fortune and well-being that was hijacked by the Nazis and transformed into a symbol of hatred and oppression. This is just one example of how powerful symbols can be co-opted and used to manipulate human consciousness. Why symbols? Because symbols tap into the collective unconscious. This co-opting of spiritual practices serves to confuse and disempower individuals, making them trust in false leaders and embrace distorted ideologies. By subtly altering the meaning of sacred symbols and traditions, the Orion Federation can undermine people's faith in their own spiritual power, leading them astray and making them more susceptible to manipulation. This is why discernment is so important. It's crucial to question everything, to think for yourself, and to trust your own intuition. Do you know how to use your intuition? But who can help us fight the Orion Federation's co-opting agenda? While Orion works to suppress humanity, certain individuals hold unique keys to unlocking mass resistance. These are the starseeds, who are pre-programmed to resist. They hold a crucial key to our freedom. These starseeds are souls from other star systems incarnated on Earth with a specific mission: to assist humanity in its awakening. According to alleged channeled information and starseed communities, these individuals volunteered to incarnate on Earth during this critical time, bringing with them unique gifts and abilities to help humanity overcome the Orion Federation's control. This is a coordinated effort spanning the stars. These starseeds often possess special traits, such as heightened intuition and psychic abilities, a strong connection to nature, and a deep sense of empathy and compassion. They are often drawn to spiritual practices and have a natural ability to see through deception and manipulation. Starseeds, also known as lightworkers, play a vital role in leading the awakening, activating dormant codes within others, and inspiring hope in the face of fear. By sharing their knowledge, wisdom, and love, they help others remember who they are and reclaim their spiritual power. Their journey of growth is mirrored by others, as their own growth inspires others to follow suit. Starseeds show humanity how to overcome fear and break free from the Orion Federation's control. However, this is not limited to those who call themselves starseeds. All individuals are capable of rising above this manipulation. So, what does all this mean? Humanity is in conflict with the Orion Federation, and it's time to reclaim our consciousness. Individual resistance is possible, and starseeds play a vital role in inspiring and leading the charge. Humanity must reclaim its potential for growth. But is there a way to fully defeat the Orion Federation, ending their grand harvesting plan once and for all? A war for human consciousness is raging, and a small group is trying to control humanity. The fate of humanity depends on this fight. What can humanity do to become truly free? In the next part, we will explore the ultimate solution to fully break free from the Orion Federation's grasp. Did you know that full liberation from the Orion Federation requires humanity to tap into the power of quantum entanglement and collective consciousness? Even though liberation may seem impossible, you have more power than they want you to believe, and it's happening every moment as we live and breathe. We have the power to alter reality at a fundamental level, a power that has been suppressed for millennia. Quantum entanglement is the key to unlocking this collective power, and in turn, breaking the chains of control and reshaping humanity's destiny. Are you ready to tap into this ancient human ability? Now, let's dive into quantum entanglement. This is a strange phenomenon where two particles become linked, regardless of the distance separating them. What happens to one particle instantly affects the other, even if they are light years apart. This connection transcends space and time, which is why it's so important. This is because human consciousness is also interconnected, and we are connected on a quantum level. Every thought, every emotion, and every intention creates ripples that spread throughout the field of consciousness, affecting everyone and everything. Altering one aspect of this collective consciousness changes everything, similar to the butterfly effect, which states, "A butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, and there is a hurricane in Texas." Humanity can use quantum entanglement to break free from the Orion Federation. But how? Quantum entanglement, while a scientific phenomenon, has been referred to throughout history as love. It's the binding force that connects all living things, transcending physical boundaries and uniting us in a web of interconnectedness. Love, in this context, isn't just a sentimental emotion. It's a fundamental force that shapes reality. Quantum physics is now starting to catch up with what the mystics and sages have known for centuries. They knew quantum entanglement held enormous potential for influencing consciousness, offering a pathway to both consciousness shielding and starseed resistance. Experts DRCH as Dr. Amit Goswami have done studies on quantum physics proving that consciousness creates reality, and quantum physics offers numerous lessons for humanity's resistance to the Orion Federation. What lessons can we learn? But how do you practically access and apply quantum entanglement? While the science may seem complex, the method is surprisingly simple. Quantum entanglement is accessed through the power of love, which resides within the human heart. The most potent tool for unlocking quantum entanglement lies within your heart. This is where the practical application of quantum entanglement resides, and it's available to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Are you ready to use it? The heart, far from being just a pump, is a powerful electromagnetic generator, emitting a field that extends far beyond the physical body. When we focus on emotions of love and compassion, this field becomes coherent and amplified, creating a resonant frequency that can affect the quantum field. Studies showcased by the HeartMath Institute have demonstrated the heart's power to influence everything from brain function to global events. By consciously focusing your love and compassion, you can affect global changes. All this starts with a feeling. What feeling will you choose? The power of collective consciousness to resist the Orion Federation should not be understated. Collective resistance can change things, and it can change things quickly. Throughout history, small groups of dedicated individuals have altered the course of history. Think of the civil rights movement in the United States, where a relatively small number of activists challenged and ultimately overturned deeply entrenched systems of segregation and discrimination. Envision the women's suffrage movement, where determined women fought for and won the right to vote. And the shocking truth is, a small group of dedicated individuals can overcome anything. Quantum physics shows us how to come together, to link our hearts and minds, and to create a unified force that can shatter the illusions of control. How can we come together? Does quantum physics and collective action create unity? Quantum entanglement and group consciousness are two sides of the same coin, reflecting the interconnectedness of all things and the power of collective intention. The final element to full liberation is embodying unity, a state of being where the mind and heart are aligned, and the individual self merges with the universal consciousness. But what does embodying unity truly mean? Embodying unity begins by unifying the mind and the heart, creating a state of inner coherence that radiates outward, affecting the world around you. Embodying unity means integrating your soul into your physical being, fully embracing your divine nature and expressing it in every thought, word, and action. Oneness is achieved through love, compassion, and forgiveness, not only for others but also for yourself. And personal healing is vital for collective healing. As within, so without. Heal your own trauma and that heals the world. The Orion Federation's grip on humanity relies on division and fragmentation. Transformation happens through embodying unity, which creates a future beyond the Orion Federation's control. Embodying unity is a revolution of consciousness, a shift from separation to connection, from fear to love, from control to freedom. The heart changes the world. By changing the inner, we change the outer. We have everything we need. The universe has equipped us with the tools, the power, and the potential to break free. But this is just scratching the surface. What we'll discover next about the Orion Federation is even more shocking. So, to summarize, quantum entanglement links all consciousness, collective action amplifies power, and embodying unity through love can change the world. Humanity can be free from the Orion Federation's grasp, and we are the universe experiencing itself. Human potential is unlimited, and it starts with quantum entanglement and collective consciousness. But we have just examined the quantum, and what is coming is beyond space and time. Did you know that humanity can leverage naturally occurring cosmic resets to disrupt the Orion Federation's control matrix and accelerate collective liberation? While the Orion Federation attempts to hijack human potential, certain cosmic events present opportunities for profound shifts in consciousness. These resets, happening on both individual and collective levels, create ripple effects throughout the entire system. Understanding and harnessing cosmic resets is crucial for breaking free from the cycle of manipulation and accelerating ascension. Now, let's explore the concept of the cosmic reset as a naturally occurring phenomenon. These cosmic resets are periodic alignments and energetic influxes that happen on cosmic scales. Consider the ancient calendars and prophecies that foretell shifts in ages, such as the Hindu yugas, the Mayan calendar, and the biblical apocalypse. These events trigger collective unraveling, causing old paradigms to collapse and new potentials to emerge. Did you know that these resets aren't just theoretical? They have tangible effects, shaking the very foundations of reality as humanity knows it. Cosmic resets disrupt the neurological pathways of control, weakening the Federation's imposed narratives of fear, division, and limitation. Energetic influxes accelerate spiritual awakenings, activating dormant DNA and unlocking psychic abilities. However, these resets are not enough for full liberation, as the Orion Federation possesses the technology to exploit these events. The Orion Federation has technology to exploit these resets. How does the Orion Federation exploit cosmic resets for continued control? The Orion Federation uses advanced technology to hijack the reset process. Memory wipes are a key component, where the Orion Federation utilizes technology to wipe memories, targeting specific individuals or entire populations. This technology suppresses the memory of liberation, perpetuating cycles of amnesia, and ensuring humanity stays under its control. Is there actual, physical proof of this technology? The alleged leaked documents describing this technology include blueprints and testimonies from whistleblowers, solidifying its existence. But how exactly does this memory wipe technology work? It has neurological effects, disrupting neural networks and targeting specific brainwave frequencies. Energetically, it suppresses Kundalini activation, severing the connection with the higher self. Psychologically, it induces confusion and apathy, creating false memories and implanting new beliefs. The consequences for humanity staying under its control are severe, perpetuating a cycle of ignorance and enslavement. What does witnessing Orion Federation technology look like? Is it similar to what we would imagine from science fiction, or something far more sinister? The story of a defector offers a harrowing glimpse behind the curtain. There have been whispers of defectors, but very little in the way of concrete information. Now, for the first time, the words of a defector. The defector, a former Orion Federation scientist, witnessed the memory wipe tech firsthand. He saw the technology used on captured humans, and he witnessed Federation members celebrating their success. He was saying it was horrific. Humans were strapped to tables, their minds probed and manipulated. The light, the awful light, it erased everything that made them. So he was saying. But what motivated this scientist to leave the Orion Federation? Witnessing the suffering of humans, he realized that the Federation's goals were unethical, and he feared the karmic consequences. I couldn't be a part of it anymore, so he was saying. The screams, the emptiness in their eyes after, it haunted me. I knew I had to do something, anything, to stop it. This testimony confirms that cosmic resets are controlled, and it provides a glimpse into the inner workings of the Orion Federation. So, cosmic resets provide opportunities for liberation, but the Orion Federation uses memory wipe tech to maintain control. Is there reason to hope? Yes, but only with knowledge of this plan. This defector testimony confirms the plan, and humanity must be alert during cosmic reset times, because knowledge allows resistance and liberation. But we're just scratching the surface. What awaits us next is a detailed description of shielding techniques. Did you know humanity's innate connection to the Lyrans holds the key to fully dismantling the Orion Federation's control matrix and reclaiming collective sovereignty? The Lyrans, often whispered about in hushed tones among those who delve into forbidden knowledge, are the progenitors of the human race, the first humanoids in this vast galaxy. And it is their genetic blueprint that holds dormant codes, waiting to be activated during cosmic resets to provide humanity with the protection it desperately needs. Activating these Lyran codes allows humanity to tap into ancient wisdom that protects from manipulation and guides the soul toward liberation. But this Lyran connection has been actively suppressed by the Orion Federation for millennia. History is replete with examples of this suppression. The destruction of Lyran colonies in the early galactic wars, the systematic targeting of Lyran descendants on Earth throughout various epochs. Ancient texts, particularly the Gnostic Gospels, hint at this conflict, speaking of a celestial war between beings of light and beings of darkness. These texts, often dismissed as mere religious allegory, can be interpreted as coded accounts of the Lyran-Orion conflict, where the beings of light represent the Lyran lineage and the beings of darkness, the Orion Federation. The Orion Federation fears the unlocking of this Lyran DNA within the human code, because it knows that humanity awakened is humanity unbound. The Orion Federation isn't simply suppressing information. They are actively waging technological and spiritual warfare against Lyran DNA. Consider the technological aspects of Orion frequency fences, invisible barriers erected across the planet that target specific genetic markers associated with the Lyran lineage. These fences interfere with DNA activation, preventing humans from accessing their full potential. Beyond technology, the Orion Federation distorts spiritual teachings, subtly undermining genuine Lyran wisdom and replacing it with false information designed to keep humanity enslaved. Genuine Lyran wisdom, focused on unity, compassion, and self-empowerment, is replaced with divisive ideologies that promote fear, control, and dependence. But how do humans specifically unlock their Lyran potential, and how do they bypass the Orion Federation's suppressive tactics? The answer, shrouded in ancient mystery and whispered among initiates, lies in understanding the power of the pineal gland, often referred to as the gateway to the soul. The pineal gland, a small, pine-cone-shaped endocrine gland located in the center of the brain, is far more than just a biological organ. It is, in essence, the gateway to the soul, connecting individual consciousness to the cosmic consciousness and acting as a receiver for cosmic energies that permeate the universe. Anatomically, it resembles an eye, and metaphysically, it is often depicted as such in ancient art. Its connection to DMT production, a powerful psychedelic compound, further suggests its role in accessing altered states of consciousness and higher dimensions. Activation of the pineal gland stimulates dormant DNA, unlocking memories, abilities, and the inherent wisdom encoded within the Lyran genetic blueprint. Ancient Egyptian and Hindu symbolism depicts the pineal as a divine eye, a symbol of inner vision and spiritual awakening, a testament to its importance in human evolution and enlightenment. But if the pineal gland is so crucial to unlocking human potential, why is it so heavily targeted? The Orion Federation understands the power of the pineal gland and has implemented various strategies to suppress its function. Fluoride, a common additive in water supplies, calcifies the pineal gland, hindering its ability to receive and transmit cosmic energies. Electromagnetic fields, emitted from electronic devices, damage pineal function, disrupting natural rhythms and interfering with its connection to the cosmos. Subliminal messaging, embedded in media and advertising, interferes with pineal activity, subtly programming the subconscious mind and preventing individuals from accessing their inner wisdom. The Orion Federation targets the pineal gland because it is the key to unlocking humanity's Lyran potential, and its suppression is essential for maintaining control. What can be done about it? Detoxing fluoride, using EMF protection, and practicing mindfulness and meditation are all powerful ways to restore and strengthen the pineal gland. Now this raises a profound question. Why would the pineal gland connect to the galactic core? Is it just a gland, or is it something more? Is it really a portal? The answer, hidden in plain sight for millennia, lies in understanding that the galactic core holds key information about humanity's origins, its potential, and its destiny. The galactic core, the center of our Milky Way galaxy, is a repository of all information, a cosmic library containing the history of every star, planet, and civilization that has ever existed. Ancient myths and spiritual traditions speak of a central sun, a source of infinite light and knowledge that radiates throughout the universe. Accessing this core activates codes within the Lyran DNA, unlocking dormant memories, abilities, and a profound understanding of the cosmos. But how do humans access this galactic core? Methods exist, passed down through generations of mystics and seers. Sound and light frequencies, specific meditative practices, and the intentional activation of the pineal gland. The galactic core is far more than just a cosmic library. It is a dynamic, living entity that constantly evolves and adapts, connected to concepts like the Akasha, the cosmic record keeper of all that has ever happened. Every thought, emotion, and action leaves an imprint on the Akasha, contributing to the collective knowledge of the galactic core. Each person contributes to the galactic core, adding their personal memories, experiences, and insights to the vast tapestry of cosmic knowledge. But the galactic core is also a place of self-correction, where imbalances are rectified and harmony is restored. It acts as a cosmic mirror, reflecting back to humanity its collective consciousness, revealing both its strengths and its weaknesses, and providing opportunities for growth and evolution. Accessing these ancient Lyran codes is not just about unlocking individual potential. It's about achieving full liberation for humanity and breaking free from the Orion Federation's control matrix. So we've covered the Lyran suppression, and we've spoken about the ways in which to activate Lyran DNA. But can it all work? Can it happen? What have we learned? Putting all of this together, it becomes clear that humans possess an untapped potential, a dormant power encoded within their DNA. Humans can tap into the Lyran code and fully activate it. And humans must use the pineal gland, as it is the gateway to Lyran activation. The evidence is overwhelming. Cosmic resets provide opportunities for liberation, and the Lyran-human connection is Orion's biggest fear. What does this mean for humanity's future? The defector so eloquently said, "There's more inside of you than they can ever wipe away." Did you know the Anunnaki, those ancient beings often hailed as humanity's creators, were in reality pawns of the Orion Federation, manipulated to control human development and consciousness? And their very presence on Earth, their rise to power, their influence on our history, was not their own initiative, but orchestrated by the Orion Federation. Today, we pull back the curtain on this deception, revealing how the Anunnaki were used to establish a subtle yet pervasive control grid over humanity. Understanding this truth, this manipulation, is the first step towards dismantling the false narratives that have shaped our world for millennia. The Anunnaki, themselves refugees from a dying planet, Nibiru, were uniquely vulnerable to the Orion Federation's influence. Imagine a species desperate for survival, their home world teetering on the brink of collapse, and then a powerful, technologically advanced federation appears, offering salvation, a new home, and a chance to rebuild. That's what happened to the Anunnaki, and in return for their loyalty, they were tasked with a mission: to establish a control grid on Earth, subtly shaping human consciousness to align with the Orion Federation's agenda. But how do we know this? How can we be certain that the Anunnaki were not acting on their own accord, but were merely puppets of a larger, more sinister force? The answer, as always, lies hidden within the ancient texts, waiting to be reinterpreted with a new understanding. Consider the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation myth, often interpreted as a straightforward account of the origins of the world. But what if it's not a creation myth at all? What if it's actually a coded account of the Orion Federation's takeover plan, their strategy for manipulating events on Earth to their advantage? Look at the roles of the Anunnaki within the Enuma Elish through this new lens. Enlil, the stern and authoritarian figure, becomes the enforcer of Orion Federation control, ensuring that humanity remains compliant and subservient. Enki, the more benevolent and rebellious figure, becomes the one who undermines this control, providing knowledge and tools to help humanity awaken. Specific passages within the Enuma Elish, previously seen as simple storytelling, now highlight the power dynamics between the Anunnaki factions and the subtle influence of the Orion Federation. The struggle between Enlil and Enki is not just a family feud. It's a cosmic battle for the soul of humanity, a battle orchestrated by the Orion Federation for their own nefarious purposes. But what motivated the Anunnaki who served the Orion Federation? Why would they betray their own kind and humanity itself to become instruments of control? The answer, as always, is complex, a tapestry woven from threads of power, control, and desperate survival. They sought dominion over humanity, to gain access to Earth's vast resources, and to secure their own survival in a harsh and unforgiving universe. Remember, the Anunnaki were refugees, desperate to rebuild their civilization, and the Orion Federation offered them a lifeline, a bargain they couldn't refuse. In exchange for their loyalty, they were promised a new home, advanced technology, and the power to rule over a new world. But this bargain came at a steep price: the enslavement of humanity and the suppression of our true potential. And within the Anunnaki ranks, internal conflicts raged, battles between those who sought to enforce Orion Federation control and those who sought to undermine it, the clash between Enlil and Enki. Now, this begs the question: how has this Anunnaki deception shaped human history and consciousness? How has the Orion Federation used the Anunnaki to establish false beliefs, seeding spiritual traps into religions to further control human beings? These spiritual traps, subtly woven into the fabric of our religions, have kept humanity in a state of fear, guilt, and dependence for millennia. We explore it next. Consider the distorted concepts of karma, often used to promote fatalism and acceptance of suffering. The true concept of karma has been perverted. Instead, Orion teaches that one must fatalistically accept suffering, and the concept of sacrifice and divine judgment, used to maintain a vibration of fear, has been distorted as well. Specific religious texts and doctrines, from biblical narratives to Hindu scriptures, can be reinterpreted through the lens of Orion Federation manipulation, revealing the subtle ways in which these spiritual traps have been woven into the fabric of our beliefs. Stories of a vengeful God, demanding sacrifice and obedience, become tools for control, designed to keep humanity in a state of subservience. The concept of original sin, the idea that humanity is inherently flawed and in need of redemption, becomes a powerful weapon for suppressing genuine spiritual growth. But what is the psychological impact of these spiritual traps? How do they affect our minds, our emotions, and our ability to connect with our true selves? These spiritual traps, designed to instill fear, guilt, and shame, have had a devastating impact on the human psyche. They are fear-based control mechanisms, designed to suppress genuine spiritual growth and disconnect us from our inner guidance. Analyze how religious institutions unknowingly reinforce these false narratives, perpetuating the cycle of control. Religious institutions, often seen as sources of spiritual guidance, can inadvertently become instruments of suppression, reinforcing false narratives and perpetuating the cycle of control. The suppression of genuine spiritual growth keeps humans disconnected from their inner guidance and reliant on external authorities. But within the Anunnaki ranks, was there any resistance to this plan? Were there any Anunnaki who defied the Orion Federation, seeking to help humanity break free from their control? Were there Anunnaki who defied the Orion Federation and sought to aid humanity? The whispers of rebellion echo through the ages, hinting at a hidden struggle within the Anunnaki ranks, a battle between those who sought to control humanity and those who sought to liberate it. Enki emerges as a potential rebel figure, providing knowledge to humanity and undermining Enlil's control. He sought to awaken humanity to its true potential. Alternative interpretations of ancient myths depict Enki's actions not as acts of benevolence, but as acts of defiance, direct challenges to the Orion Federation's agenda. He sought to provide enlightenment and guidance to humanity. These accounts, found in fragmented texts and whispered among initiates, reveal a complex and nuanced picture of the Anunnaki, a society torn between loyalty and rebellion, between control and liberation. What motivated these Anunnaki defectors? What drove them to risk everything to help humanity break free? The motivations were complex, a mixture of compassion, regret, and a growing awareness of the true nature of the Orion Federation. Imagine the internal conflict, the struggle between loyalty to their own kind and the growing realization that they were being used as pawns in a much larger game. These good Anunnaki faced immense challenges and risks. Retaliation from the Orion Federation was swift and brutal. Internal conflicts with other Anunnaki, those loyal to the Orion Federation, created a constant state of tension and danger. These Anunnaki, often working in secret, sought to awaken humanity to the truth, providing knowledge, tools, and guidance to help us break free from the control grid. Some of the Anunnaki were not evil, they were controlled. We are faced with the reality that the Orion Federation does not have total control. So, what have we learned? The Anunnaki deception and spiritual traps exist, but the potential for Anunnaki allies also exists. The Orion Federation does not have total control. They use pawns to do the dirty work. The Anunnaki were merely a tool, an instrument in the hands of a larger, more sinister force. Discerning truth becomes paramount. We must look into the hearts of everyone we encounter, questioning their motivations and seeking to understand their true intentions. But what does all of this mean for our future? The Orion Federation does not have total control, and we must discern the truth in all things. But what if there's another level to this game, another player we haven't even considered? What if the Orion Federation isn't the top of the pyramid? The Orion Federation's plan to harvest human consciousness is subtly reinforced through societal structures, designed to encourage hierarchical power dynamics, competition, and the suppression of individual sovereignty. These structures are not accidental occurrences. They are intentionally designed to perpetuate control, subtly reinforcing the idea that humans need external control and systems. Recognizing these societal mechanisms is crucial for dismantling the Orion Federation's influence at a fundamental level. But how exactly is the Orion Federation's plan reinforced through these societal structures? Let's begin by examining the education system, where the focus is often on rote memorization and obedience, discouraging critical thinking and creativity. This approach, far from being a neutral method of imparting knowledge, subtly conditions individuals to accept information passively, rather than questioning its validity or exploring alternative perspectives. From a young age, children are taught to conform to established norms and to respect authority figures, without necessarily understanding the reasons behind those norms or the motivations of those in power. This creates a mindset of dependence on external sources for validation and guidance, making individuals more susceptible to manipulation later in life. Is it any wonder that so many adults struggle with independent thought and decision-making, when their formative years were spent memorizing facts and following instructions? Consider also the political systems in place across the globe, where two-party systems often create division and conflict, while campaign finance is heavily controlled by corporations. This is no accident. The constant bickering and gridlock that characterize many political landscapes serve to distract the population from the real issues at hand, fostering a sense of cynicism and apathy towards the democratic process. Meanwhile, the influence of corporate money ensures that the interests of the wealthy and powerful are always prioritized, at the expense of the needs of ordinary citizens. What choice do citizens have when their elected officials are beholden to corporations and billionaires? This system creates a sense of powerlessness and discourages meaningful participation in shaping the future of society. And what about the legal systems, often complex and inaccessible for average citizens, while protecting the interests of the wealthy and powerful? The very language of the law is designed to be confusing and intimidating, requiring specialized knowledge and expertise to navigate effectively. This creates a barrier to justice for those who cannot afford expensive legal representation, while those with deep pockets can exploit loopholes and manipulate the system to their advantage. The scales of justice are heavily weighted in favor of the elite, reinforcing the perception that the law is not a fair and impartial arbiter, but rather a tool for maintaining the status quo. All of these societal structures reinforce the idea that humans need to obey authority and trust external systems, subtly conditioning them to accept the Orion Federation's control. But what effect do these societal structures have on the modern population? The psychological impact is profound, creating a sense of powerlessness and apathy, eroding individual sovereignty and self-reliance, and reinforcing the victim mentality. When individuals are constantly bombarded with messages that they are helpless to change their circumstances, they internalize this belief and give up trying. They start to believe that they need to work for these systems, rather than the systems working for them. They become passive recipients of whatever fate throws their way, rather than active agents in shaping their own destinies. It's like a frog being slowly boiled in a pot of water, never realizing the danger until it's too late. Now, this raises a crucial question. How are these societal structures reinforced? The answer, in part, lies in the entertainment industry, where programming perpetuates these very structures. What you watch controls you. Consider the use of predictive programming in entertainment programming, normalizing future events like war, famine, and natural disasters. Through movies, television shows, and video games, audiences are subtly conditioned to accept these events as inevitable, desensitizing them to the suffering of others and fostering a sense of resignation. When disaster strikes, they are less likely to question the causes or to take action to prevent future occurrences, having been pre-programmed to accept it as part of the natural order. The lines between reality and fiction become increasingly blurred, as audiences struggle to distinguish between what is real and what is merely a product of the imagination. The news is full of bad things because they tell you it is going to be, so it happens. Consider the constant glamorization of violence and materialism, desensitizing audiences to suffering and reinforcing the pursuit of wealth and status as the ultimate goals in life. The entertainment industry bombards us with images of luxury cars, designer clothes, and extravagant lifestyles, creating a sense of dissatisfaction and envy among those who cannot afford these things. Violence is often portrayed as a solution to problems, encouraging aggressive behavior and a lack of empathy for victims. The result is a society that is increasingly materialistic, violent, and emotionally detached. And what about the promotion of specific narratives, reinforcing desired beliefs and behaviors? The news media, often controlled by a handful of powerful corporations, shapes public opinion by selectively reporting on events and framing them in a way that supports a particular agenda. Political commentators and talking heads reinforce these narratives, further polarizing society and discouraging critical thinking. The entertainment industry promotes specific narratives, reinforcing desired beliefs and behaviors. The result is a population that is easily manipulated and controlled, unable to think for themselves or to question the official narrative. But what is the psychological effect of entertainment programming? It shapes perceptions of reality, creating a distorted worldview, influencing emotions, promoting fear, anxiety, and anger, and manipulating values and beliefs, undermining genuine empathy and compassion. What you watch every day can change who you are and how you act. The constant exposure to violence and negativity can lead to a sense of fear and anxiety, while the promotion of materialism can create a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. The manipulation of values and beliefs can undermine genuine empathy and compassion, leading to a society that is increasingly divided and uncaring. Now, this leads us to another crucial question. Do money systems work to control consciousness? The answer, it seems, is a resounding yes. The modern economy is rigged. Consider the financial system, with its debt-based currency system that creates a perpetual cycle of dependence, and its wealth inequality that concentrates power in the hands of a few. The very nature of debt-based currency ensures that individuals and nations are constantly struggling to repay their obligations, enriching the banks and financial institutions that control the flow of money. Wealth inequality creates a vast chasm between the haves and have-nots, perpetuating a system of privilege and oppression. The exploitation of labor creates a sense of worthlessness among those who are forced to work long hours for low wages, while the environmental destruction that results from prioritizing profits over sustainability threatens the very future of the planet. Consider also the economic anxiety and stress that plague modern society, distracting from spiritual growth and fostering a focus on material possessions, creating a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. People cannot even eat what they want because of this system. The constant pressure to earn more money, to keep up with the Joneses, and to secure a comfortable retirement creates a state of chronic stress and anxiety that prevents individuals from connecting with their inner selves and pursuing their spiritual growth. The focus on material possessions as a measure of success and happiness leaves many feeling empty and dissatisfied despite their accumulation of wealth. And what about the perpetuation of a cycle of competition and scarcity, undermining collaboration and compassion? The modern economy is built on the principle of competition, encouraging individuals and businesses to vie for limited resources and market share. This creates a sense of scarcity, leading to hoarding, selfishness, and a lack of empathy for those who are less fortunate. The emphasis on individual success at the expense of the collective good undermines collaboration and compassion, creating a society that is increasingly fragmented and isolated. We can no longer continue the way things are going. So, what steps can people take to dismantle this matrix? What collective actions are necessary to break free from the Orion Federation's control? There is hope for the future if steps are taken to dismantle the matrix and reclaim human sovereignty. To summarize the evidence, we've seen how societal structures, entertainment programming, and the modern economy are all engineered to keep humans in a low vibration, perpetuating a cycle of control and manipulation. These elite have been engineering the world for a long time. Everything is engineered to keep humans in low vibration. We must change, awaken, and break free. But how? What specific actions can humanity take to awaken and break free from this meticulously crafted control grid? That's what we'll explore next. Did you know that the Orion Federation doesn't just influence our present, they manipulate our past and future? The core of their control lies in rewriting the very fabric of time, keeping humanity trapped in a cycle of ignorance and preventing our ascension. What they don't want you to know is that timeline manipulation is their most advanced form of control, altering our memories and suppressing our true potential. Recognize this manipulation, and you hold the key to unlocking alternate timelines and reclaiming your destiny. Now, what evidence exists to support this claim of timeline manipulation? Whispers of leaked documents speak of technologies used to distort timelines for human control, creating a false sense of reality and preventing humanity from reaching its full potential. These documents, though shrouded in secrecy, reveal a disturbing truth. Time is not a fixed construct, but a malleable entity susceptible to manipulation by those with the knowledge and technology to do so. But the Orion Federation is not the only ones with this knowledge. Consider also the cycles embedded within ancient calendars, such as the Mayan calendar and the Hindu yugas. These cycles, far from being mere markers of time, may be representations of manipulated timelines, subtly altered to maintain control and prevent humanity from evolving beyond a certain point. Each cycle represents a controlled period of development and destruction. So-and-so was saying, these cycles aren't natural, they are engineered. The shocking truth is our ancestors knew of these events, as they would try to tell us through their calendar systems. What if I told you there are those who have experienced these timeline shifts firsthand? Here is an account from one individual who was saying, everything changed in an instant. The world I knew, the memories I held, were subtly altered. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing a different version of reality. It's a frightening experience to have. You question your sanity and the sanity of those around you. But how does this timeline manipulation actually work? It's a complex process that affects both individual and collective consciousness. On an individual level, it creates confusion, undermines faith, and erodes one's sense of identity. People begin to question their memories, their beliefs, and their place in the world. On a collective level, it creates division, leads to conflict, and prevents humanity from uniting in a common cause. The elite orchestrate chaos and then offer the solution to the problem they created. Now, some may argue that timelines are fixed, immutable, and beyond manipulation. But what they don't want you to know is that multiple realities exist simultaneously, each with its own unique timeline. These timelines are not predetermined paths, but rather possibilities that can be influenced by consciousness, intention, and the choices we make. The knowledge of multiple timelines is dangerous to those in power. Now, this raises the crucial question: how does the Orion Federation manipulate these timelines? The answer, in part, lies in their holographic technology, a sophisticated means of creating artificial realities that distort our perception and reinforce control narratives. It's a technology so advanced that it blurs the lines between what is real and what is fake, trapping humanity in a prison of its own making. These artificial realities reinforce control narratives through the use of war, disease, and poverty. The media bombards the population with constant images of conflict and suffering, creating a sense of fear and anxiety. The medical industry profits from sickness, perpetuating a cycle of dependence on pharmaceuticals. The economic system creates vast inequalities, ensuring that a small elite controls the vast majority of the wealth. This holographic technology utilizes frequency modulation to target human consciousness directly. By manipulating the frequencies that resonate with our brains, the Orion Federation can subtly influence our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, shaping our perception of reality to align with their agenda. In the words of an alleged whistleblower from a secret military project, who was saying, "These holodromes are like real-life movies, fully immersive environments that can be used to train soldiers, entertain the masses, or even rewrite history. They are so realistic that people often can't tell the difference between what's real and what's fake." These artificial realities have a profound influence on human perception, blurring the lines between what is real and what is fake. As a result, people become increasingly disoriented and confused, unable to distinguish truth from falsehood. They lose their ability to think critically and to question the official narrative, becoming passive recipients of whatever information they are fed. But is reality subjective? Is this why they have power? The nature of reality is subjective. These artificial realities also influence human behavior, promoting conformity and suppressing individuality. People are subtly encouraged to follow the crowd, to obey authority figures, and to conform to established norms. Those who dare to question the status quo are often ostracized, ridiculed, or even punished. The result is a society that is increasingly homogeneous, lacking in creativity and innovation, a conformity of consciousness. But can we break free from this manipulation? Can we create a new timeline, one that is aligned with our highest aspirations and potential? The answer, it seems, lies within ourselves, in our power to consciously create our own reality through intention, focus, and collective action. What they don't want you to know is that conscious creation can make all the difference. Intention is a powerful force that shapes reality. What they also don't want you to know is that collective intention can rewrite timelines, changing probabilities and creating a more positive future for all. By focusing our thoughts and emotions on a shared vision of peace, love, and abundance, we can create a ripple effect that transforms the world around us. Thought is more powerful than what you can imagine. Techniques like meditation and visualization can help us align our individual intentions with the collective intention, amplifying the power of our conscious creation. By quieting the mind and focusing on a specific goal, we can tap into a deeper level of consciousness and manifest our desires into reality. These methods of reaching higher consciousness are critical to breaking free. As the saying goes, energy flows where intention goes. By focusing our energy on a positive future, filled with love, peace, and abundance, we can create a new timeline that reflects our highest aspirations. But this requires overcoming the obstacles of fear and doubt, which are often implanted in our minds by the Orion Federation's manipulation. These attacks that plague your mind can be overcome, but we must remember the three key points. We have the ability to consciously create our reality. The Orion Federation is manipulating our timelines, and conscious creation is the key to breaking free. The implications of this understanding are profound. Our fate is not sealed, the power lies within us, and we have the potential to create a new world. Are you ready? But we're just scratching the surface of the Orion Federation's influence. What we'll discover next is even more shocking. The ancient technology they use to control human thought and emotion, and how we can shield ourselves from its effects. Did you know the Orion Federation is now using technological advancements like AI and Neuralink to amplify their consciousness harvesting efforts? They understand that the ultimate harvest machine is not just a physical device, but a sophisticated network of technology interwoven into the fabric of our daily lives. The core of this technological harvesting lies in our dependence on these tools, subtly turning them into instruments of control. What they don't want you to realize is that the very devices you hold in your hand are not just tools, but also conduits for manipulation. AI algorithms are subtly shaping our perceptions of reality, filtering information through social media, search engines, and news feeds to guide our thoughts and emotions. The algorithms are designed to learn your preferences, fears, and desires, and then use that knowledge to present you with a carefully curated version of the world. The reality you perceive is no longer objective, but a reflection of the programming. The stakes couldn't be higher. Understanding the Federation's technological approach is essential to defend against it, to reclaim our minds from their insidious control. Now, let's consider Neuralink and similar brain-computer interfaces as potential tools in this grand scheme. The stated goals of these technologies are benevolent enough, treating neurological disorders, enhancing human capabilities, and even merging human consciousness with AI. But what happens when these technologies fall into the wrong hands? What happens when the very tools designed to liberate the mind become instruments of enslavement? Expert opinions on the potential risks paint a disturbing picture. Many scientists and ethicists warn of the dangers of mind control, data privacy violations, and the potential for these technologies to be used for malicious purposes. So-and-so was saying, these interfaces can be hacked, exploited, and used to manipulate people's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The risk is not just theoretical, it's real and it's growing. But how could these technologies actually be used to directly manipulate thoughts and emotions? Targeted frequencies could be used to induce specific emotional states, such as fear, anxiety, or euphoria. False memories and beliefs could be uploaded directly into the brain, creating a distorted sense of self and a false perception of reality. The implications are terrifying. A world where our thoughts are no longer our own, where our memories are implanted, where our very identities are controlled by an outside force. Brain-computer interfaces would be the ultimate form of slavery. How did the Orion Federation set up this plan, positioning themselves to take advantage of this technological integration? The answer lies in centuries of subtle cultural programming, a slow and deliberate manipulation of human values and beliefs to pave the way for a technological singularity. This isn't about some sudden, overt takeover. It's about a gradual erosion of our autonomy, a subtle shift in our priorities, leading us willingly into a technological trap. Consider the popularity of transhumanism in movies, books, and TV shows. These messages promote the idea that technology is the solution to all of humanity's problems, that we can overcome our limitations and achieve immortality through technological enhancements. At the same time, there is a strong emphasis on technology over spirituality, promoting atheism and skepticism towards traditional religious beliefs. It's a subtle but pervasive message that undermines our connection to the divine and our sense of purpose. These messages lead to a singularity, where the human mind is merged with AI, and where the Orion Federation can finally achieve its goal of harvesting human consciousness on a grand scale. What is the long-term psychological effect of this media and cultural messaging? It normalizes technological control, making people accept the loss of privacy and freedom as an inevitable trade-off for convenience and entertainment. It creates a culture of dependence, undermining self-reliance and critical thinking, and it promotes a sense of inevitability, making people feel helpless to resist the technological tide. What they don't want you to know is that this feeling of helplessness is precisely what they want you to feel. But there is always a way to break free. Does the AI agenda involve humans, or is it something else? Listen to this first-hand account from an elite who is involved in carrying out the Orion Federation's agenda. This testimony comes from a former employee who shared the following: "I was part of the inner circle. I saw how the Orion Federation controlled the systems, how they manipulated the algorithms, and how they harvested human consciousness. But I also saw the consequences, the loss of humanity, the loss of soul. The price is higher than what humans know." What were the whistleblowers' motivations, and what are the ethical implications of coming forward? The reasons for coming forward are rooted in witnessing the destructive consequences firsthand, the erosion of empathy, the loss of compassion, and the slow but steady dehumanization of society. The risks involved in exposing the truth are immense, including personal safety and professional repercussions. But the ethical obligation to warn humanity outweighs the risks. What they don't want you to know is that their own people are willing to stand up to them. Now, let's turn our attention to a different front in this war for consciousness: dreams. How does the Orion Federation take advantage of our dreams? The elite know that dreams are often not monitored and are using them as a backdoor into our subconscious minds, a hidden realm where they can manipulate our thoughts and emotions without our conscious awareness. Dreams can be manipulated by frequency technologies, subtle waves of energy that are beamed into our minds while we sleep, altering our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. The elite use these technologies to implant subliminal messages, to reinforce control narratives, and to shape our perceptions of reality. What they don't want you to know is that lucid dreaming is a powerful defense, a way to become aware of these manipulations and to take back control of your subconscious mind. But what are the long-term consequences of this system of dream manipulation? Over time, people begin to believe that these implanted thoughts and emotions are their own. They become convinced that certain situations are true, that certain beliefs are valid, and that certain actions are necessary. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, where people unknowingly act out the agendas of the Orion Federation. And that is why they use dream walkers, individuals who are trained to enter the dreams of others and to manipulate their thoughts and emotions directly. Methods to identify interference can be spotted if you pay attention to patterns. Lucid dreamers can see how it all truly works. So, what have we learned? We've seen how technology can be manipulated for control, how our world has been programmed through media and culture, and how even our dreams are being targeted. But what they don't want you to know is that humanity must awaken to recognize the manipulation, to reclaim our minds, and to create a new reality based on love, freedom, and truth. The planet's ascension is in our hands, but we're just scratching the surface of the Orion Federation's influence. What we'll discover next is even more shocking: the ancient techniques they use to suppress our spiritual potential and how we can unlock our own divine power. The Orion Federation doesn't just monitor your dreams, they actively manipulate them. Our dreams, that ethereal landscape we visit each night, are not merely random firings of neurons. They are a gateway, a direct channel to our subconscious minds, the realm where our deepest fears, hidden desires, and untapped potential reside. The Orion Federation understands this and exploits it, using advanced technology to infiltrate our dreams, implant false memories, and even steal our energy. What they don't want you to know is that recognizing this dream manipulation is the first, and perhaps most crucial, step in protecting your own consciousness. Is there evidence to support this claim of dream manipulation? According to ancient cultures across the globe, dreams have always been considered more than just nightly visions. They were pathways to communicate with spirits, receive guidance from the divine, and even glimpse the future. Shamans, priests, and healers throughout history have practiced dream interpretation, believing that dreams hold profound insights into the human psyche and the spiritual realm. Now, modern research on lucid dreaming, the ability to become aware that you're dreaming and potentially control your dreams, shows we have the potential to control our experience. Dream walking has been practiced for millennia as a method of gathering intel and manipulating targets. But how exactly does this dream manipulation work? The Orion Federation preys on your deepest fears, the anxieties and insecurities that lurk in your subconscious. By amplifying these fears in your dreams, they can create a sense of unease and helplessness that bleeds into your waking life. They can also install specific thought patterns, subtly influencing your beliefs and behaviors through recurring night terrors, vivid and disturbing dreams designed to program your subconscious mind. Furthermore, emotions have a very high and powerful frequency. They can extract this raw power to use as a weapon. What they don't want you to realize is that all of your fears are their ammunition to use against you. What about the skepticism? How could people believe this? If these are the cases, then how does harvesting these dreams affect humans' emotional energy? How do we know what harvesting emotions would even be like? The answer may be more disturbing than you imagine. Harvesting trauma on a massive level doesn't just affect individuals. It can alter the very fabric of society. The Orion Federation seeks to harvest emotional and spiritual energy on a planetary scale, turning human suffering into a source of power. What evidence supports the claim that the Orion Federation harvests emotional and spiritual energy? Trauma, especially on a mass scale, generates a high-frequency energy. Suffering, pain, and fear produce a unique vibrational frequency that the Orion Federation can tap into and exploit. They use this energy for power, for sustenance, and to further their own agenda of control. This concept of humans serving as an energy source for the gods is not new. If we look to the Sumerian texts on Anunnaki, the ancient writings explicitly state that humans were created to serve the gods, to provide them with food, labor, and ultimately, energy. But what is the broader purpose of this emotion harvesting? It's about exploiting mass events like war, famine, and pandemics to generate immense waves of fear and suffering. The trauma generated by these events lowers the overall vibration of the planet, impairing spiritual growth and making humanity more susceptible to manipulation. The ethical implications of such a plan are staggering. What they don't want you to realize is they are profiting off of your energy. Have people witnessed this trauma energy harvesting firsthand? Is there anyone who can corroborate these claims? A former employee of the Orion Federation, a defector who chose to abandon their allegiance, knows of the harvesting. This individual, risking their own safety, has come forward to share their story, to expose the dark secrets they witnessed within the Federation's ranks. This former Federation employee, who we will call Elias to protect their identity, was directly involved in harvesting emotional energy from humans. Elias witnessed firsthand how children were deliberately manipulated, their fears amplified, their innocence stolen, all for the sake of generating energy. Elias was also involved in dream walking, entering the dreams of unsuspecting individuals to implant thoughts, extract energy, and reinforce the Federation's control narratives. So-and-so was saying, "The Orion Federation preys on our deepest fears, our insecurities, our vulnerabilities. They know what scares us, and they use that knowledge against us." But what drove Elias to defect from the Orion Federation? What were the destructive consequences they witnessed? The most profound realization for Elias was the Federation's complete lack of empathy. So-and-so was saying, "Orion has no such thing. It is a tool for them. They have no care for any person's health. They only see humans as cattle for their agendas." The witnessing of such inhumane acts, the deliberate infliction of suffering on innocent beings, triggered a deep sense of moral outrage. Elias became concerned about the karmic implications of their actions, the potential consequences for their own soul. What they don't want you to know is their own soldiers see them as inhumane. If all these ways are avenues for control, then what about the modern medical system? Is this a place for experimentation? Are there more hidden agendas at play? The answer, unfortunately, may be more sinister than most dare to imagine. The Orion Federation is using the medical establishment as a front for experimentation, a means of harvesting human consciousness and furthering their own nefarious goals. What evidence suggests that the medical establishment is being used for these types of experiments? The system started off with good intentions. It was used to heal the sick, save lives, and alleviate suffering. However, over time, things have changed. Pharmaceutical companies now favor profits over health, which leads to the experimentation. Now there are many reported medical errors that are now the third leading cause of death. These trends lead to something much more sinister. But how could the modern medical system be used to target certain people? The Orion Federation seems to specifically target elders, people with energy, and other key demographics for subtle experimentation. It seems the control is on a very gradual approach. Elias has also revealed it is getting worse every year. Elias is saying that medical professionals have sold their souls to the elite. What they don't want you to know is we can take back our lives. So what have we learned? The Orion Federation is manipulating our dreams, harvesting our trauma, and exploiting the medical system. They do these things while we're sleeping, exploiting our subconscious vulnerabilities. Trauma makes them more powerful, feeding their insatiable hunger for energy, and they can control the medicine, which alters the physical and mental state. But what does all of this mean? The ultimate purpose is simple. The Orion Federation wants slaves, beings whose consciousness is under their complete and total control. It's time to reclaim our power, to awaken from our slumber, and to resist the forces that seek to enslave us. It's time to stand up. Did you know that the Orion Federation is not only manipulating global events and your dreams, but is also hijacking the very movements that promise spiritual awakening? What they don't want you to know is that the Orion Federation is subtly enslaving New Agers, diverting them from true liberation by subverting authentic spiritual practices and turning them into tools of control. The Antichrist isn't a single person, but rather a collective, machine-like consciousness devoid of empathy, an anti-human force that seeks to dominate humanity's spiritual evolution. This misdirection, this subtle twisting of the path, prevents true liberation. What evidence supports this claim of hijacked spirituality? Throughout history, we've seen how genuine spiritual movements become co-opted by those seeking power. In today's New Age circles, ancient wisdom traditions are often repackaged and commodified. The law of attraction, for example, a concept rooted in the power of positive thinking and manifestation, is often twisted by the elite into a tool for material obsession. People are led to believe that wealth and status are the ultimate goals, rather than spiritual growth and enlightenment. Crystals and other sacred tools are mass-produced and marketed with profit as the motive, rather than genuine healing and spiritual connection. Experts in world religions, from Hinduism to Buddhism to Christianity, have spoken out against the corruption of spiritual practices. They were saying these are often replaced with shallow rituals and superficial beliefs that serve only to reinforce ego and materialism. This corruption preys on vulnerable individuals, those who have experienced trauma and are seeking an escape from their pain. These individuals are drawn to the promise of quick fixes and easy answers, making them susceptible to manipulation. However, this misdirection can have long-term consequences, causing damage to consciousness by creating a dependence on external validation and material possessions. What they don't want you to realize is that even though the ideas in the New Age seem positive, they can be traps that lead away from true freedom. But why would the Orion Federation target those already on the right path, those who are actively seeking spiritual enlightenment? Why infiltrate the communities of lightworkers who dedicate their lives to spreading positivity and healing? The answer lies in the unique energy that lightworkers possess, a potent force that can be drained and manipulated for nefarious purposes. These lightworkers, sensitive to subtle energies and deeply connected to the spiritual realm, can be manipulated, their abilities twisted for the Orion Federation's gain. How are lightworkers targeted and manipulated? Lightworkers are targets precisely because of their heightened sensitivity to energy. So-and-so was saying, they want to use your abilities for their own gain, and this often starts with preying on their ego. They are lured with false promises of power, recognition, and influence, subtly inflating their sense of self-importance. This creates chaos within the community, leading to spiritual ego, a dangerous trap that hinders true progress. Spiritual ego is a significant obstacle, preventing progress on the path to enlightenment. It causes conflict, creating division and jealousy among lightworkers, as they compete for recognition and validation. What they don't want you to realize is that the Orion Federation relies on this spiritual ego, using it to sow discord and weaken the collective consciousness. The spiritual ego can cause chaos and prevent progress in all realms of life, from mundane reality to spiritual development. If lightworkers are being deceived, can the so-called experts and gurus, the leaders of these spiritual movements, be trusted? Is there a way to discern the true teachers from the false prophets? The truth is, deception often comes from those in positions of authority, from the trusted figures who claim to have all the answers. Gurus can be dangerous, leading seekers astray with promises of enlightenment that ultimately serve only to control and manipulate them. The elite, the human collaborators of the Orion Federation, create false teachers for this deception, strategically placing gurus in positions of power to control energy flow and dictate the narrative. So-and-so was saying, it's another form of mind control, a subtle yet effective way to keep people trapped in cycles of dependence and manipulation. These false teachers often target the root chakra, the energy center associated with security, survival, and grounding, keeping their followers stuck in a state of fear and instability. The danger lies in the fact that people often rely on these gurus for answers, abdicating their own power and intuition. They avoid their inner power, surrendering their autonomy to external authority figures. What they don't want you to realize is that the guru, the external source of wisdom, is often another trap, designed to keep you from discovering your own inner truth. This guru archetype can often present the user as helpless without their assistance. If gurus are dangerous and spiritual movements can be manipulated, how do we avoid falling into these traps? How do we discern the true path from the false one? It all comes down to trusting yourself, to cultivating the power of self-discernment and developing a deep connection to your own intuition. What they don't want you to realize is how powerful you really are. To awaken and protect yourself, you must cultivate self-discernment, questioning everything and refusing to blindly accept any teaching or authority. Emotional regulation is also key. Your emotions are your compass, guiding you towards truth and away from deception. Trusting your intuition, listening to your heart, is the most powerful tool you possess. What they don't want you to know is that your heart knows the way. The only guru is inside of you. It takes time to awaken and become truly free, but there is hope for liberation if you believe in your own power. The power of self-discernment, emotional regulation, and intuition is the key to unlocking your true potential and breaking free from the chains of manipulation. Each person has the power to free themselves. In summary, manipulation exists within spiritual movements. Gurus often exploit vulnerable seekers, and we need to awaken to our own inner power. Discernment frees humanity from the traps of control, allowing us to reclaim our autonomy and chart our own spiritual path. The time has come to take your power back, to step into your true potential, and to resist the forces that seek to enslave your consciousness. What comes next is the revelation of the final action steps that will safeguard your mind, body, and spirit from the clutches of the Orion Federation, and we will explore how those action steps will allow you to take back your personal power. Did you know that the Orion Federation's tentacles of influence extend even into the Akashic Records, the very library of the universe? What's truly insidious is their attempt to control and distort these records, seeking to rewrite history and limit humanity's potential. The core of this manipulation lies in controlling the narrative, shaping our understanding of the past, and, consequently, dictating our future possibilities. Recognizing this manipulation is crucial, not just for dismantling false narratives, but for unlocking humanity's true potential, a potential deliberately suppressed by the Orion Federation. But how can we be sure that the Orion Federation is meddling with something as seemingly intangible as the Akashic Records? Evidence exists in multiple forms. Ancient traditions across numerous cultures speak of a universal record of all events, thoughts, and emotions. The Egyptians referred to it as the Book of Life, while ancient Indian traditions describe the Akasha as an all-pervading, ethereal plane where every experience is permanently imprinted. According to alleged whistleblower testimonies from individuals claiming to have worked within clandestine organizations, elite groups have gained access to these records and are actively attempting to alter them. Furthermore, a careful analysis of historical narratives reveals discrepancies, omissions, and subtle alterations that suggest a deliberate attempt to rewrite history, subtly steering humanity towards a predetermined path. What does it truly mean for the Orion Federation to manipulate the Akashic Records? The Akashic Records can be understood as a vast field of energy that connects all things, a cosmic internet of consciousness. It is said to be most easily accessed through the heart. By distorting these records, the Orion Federation creates separation, fostering a sense of division and preventing humanity from recognizing its interconnectedness. They make it harder to tap into the truth, obscuring the path to enlightenment and keeping humanity trapped in cycles of ignorance and control. So was saying, it's like trying to find a single grain of sand on a beach that stretches across the entire world. But if the Orion Federation is actively trying to distort the Akashic Records, can we, as individuals and as a collective, shift this energy? Can we rewrite the narrative and reclaim our true potential? The answer lies in the power of collective consciousness, the understanding that through focused intention, we can actively rewrite the Akashic Records. It all starts with accessing our own consciousness. How can we rewrite the Akashic Records and reclaim our power? There are techniques that can be used to accomplish this feat. The power of focused intention must be understood, and the power of collective consciousness applied to the following techniques. Visualization, where we consciously create the reality we desire. Affirmations, where we declare our intentions with unwavering conviction. And group meditations, where we amplify our collective energy to create a powerful force for change. Heart coherence, the alignment of our heart and mind, acts as a powerful amplifier for these techniques, allowing us to access and rewrite the Akashic records with greater efficacy. So-and-so was saying, imagine the collective heart of humanity beating as one, rewriting the story of our world with love and compassion. What are the mechanisms behind this rewriting? By focusing our intention and aligning our hearts and minds, we alter the probabilities within the quantum field. We begin to create new realities, shaping our destiny and the destiny of humanity as a whole. Each individual becomes a co-creator, reclaiming their power to shape the world around them. What they don't want you to realize is that your thoughts, feelings, and intentions have the power to rewrite the very fabric of reality. Now, if we can rewrite the Akashic records with intention, can we also access these records through portals, gateways to higher dimensions of consciousness? Portals are places, both internal and external, where the veil between worlds is thin, allowing us to access deeper levels of awareness and knowledge. What are these portals, and how can we use them to access the Akashic records? The heart itself is a powerful portal, a gateway to our own inner wisdom and connection to the Akashic records, but external portals also exist. Throughout history, sacred sites like Stonehenge and the pyramids have been revered as places of immense power, aligned with specific energy frequencies that amplify intention and facilitate access to higher dimensions of consciousness. These places act as conduits, amplifying our intentions and allowing us to connect with the Akashic records with greater clarity and focus. So-and-so was saying, these are places where the earth itself whispers secrets of the past and possibilities for the future. How do these sacred sites amplify our intentions and facilitate access to the Akashic records? Sacred sites are often located on ley lines, energy pathways that crisscross the earth, connecting them to a network of power vortexes. Connecting with inner earth through these lines amplifies focus, connecting to the very heart of the planet, and allowing us to tap into the collective wisdom of the earth itself, and accessing the Akashic records with greater ease and clarity. What they don't want you to realize is that these sacred sites are still active and waiting to be reactivated by those who seek to connect with them. If we can access the Akashic records and rewrite our destiny, what personal action is required to protect the integrity of these records from further manipulation? To truly safeguard the Akashic records, we must embark on a journey of self-healing, addressing the wounds and traumas that cloud our perception and make us vulnerable to manipulation. What does this personal journey entail? It requires acknowledging our past traumas, forgiving ourselves and others for the pain we have experienced, and cultivating self-love, restoring our connection to our true selves, and releasing the negativity that binds us to cycles of suffering and control. The wounds of the individual are a pathway towards healing the consciousness of the collective and the Akashic records. So-and-so was saying, the key to unlocking the power of the Akashic records lies within your own heart. How do our personal wounds affect the outer world, and how can healing ourselves protect the Akashic records? Our inner wounds manifest in the outer world, creating patterns of conflict, separation, and suffering. By healing ourselves, we create ripple effects, transforming our relationships, our communities, and ultimately, the world around us. Shadow work, the process of confronting and integrating our repressed emotions and shadow selves, is a powerful tool for releasing blockages and transforming our lives. This will allow you to fully transform the individual, then the collective. What they don't want you to realize is that your personal healing is a revolutionary act that has the power to change the world. In summary, to rewrite the Akashic records, we must use the power of our collective consciousness, access the heart portal, and embark on a journey of self-healing. What we are doing is not just rewriting history, but the destiny of humanity as a whole. A new world is being born, a world where humanity is free from the shackles of manipulation and control. It is your time to take the lead, for what comes next is how you can harness the power of your mind to access this portal, and how you can protect yourselves from the technology that seeks to steal your personal power. Did you know that the Orion Federation's influence even extends into the most secretive of human organizations? Major religions are tools, secret societies know the truth, but it is a truth carefully curated and disseminated by the Federation. Secret societies are a tool for deception, controlled from above, used to manipulate humanity. Discerning their real purpose is necessary if we are to reclaim our power and break free from their control. But how do we know that these secret societies are actually controlled by the Orion Federation and aren't simply human organizations seeking power? The truth lies in the evidence of deception and manipulation woven into their symbols, rituals, and agendas. Consider the Freemasons, an organization claiming to hold secret knowledge passed down through generations, knowledge connected to historical figures and scientific luminaries. It is said that their symbolism draws power from ancient sources, but is it truly their own power, or are they channeling energy from a darker origin? Then there is the infamous Illuminati, shrouded in mystery and associated with the goals of a new world order and global control. These groups may appear to be humanoid, but a closer look reveals a subtle influence, a guiding hand from beyond our world. Analyzing their symbols and goals reveals a deeper manipulation at play. The Freemasons, with their intricate hierarchy and emphasis on power, often utilize the pyramid as a central symbol. Is this merely an architectural reference, or does it represent a deeper connection to Orion energy? The relevance of Egyptian symbolism, with its pantheon of gods like Isis, Osiris, and Horus, suggests a deliberate channeling of ancient power, a power that may originate from the Orion Federation. The Illuminati, with their stated goal of global domination, seek to usher in technology for control, a technology that may ultimately serve the Federation's agenda. They are simply pawns in a much larger game. So-and-so was saying, the pyramid is not just a symbol of power, but a conduit for energy, a gateway to another dimension. To what lengths will the Orion Federation and these societies go to maintain control? The answer, disturbing as it may be, lies in the history of dark rituals and the practice of human blood sacrifice to gods. But why would these groups engage in such horrific practices? Evidence lies in the ancient practices of human sacrifice, a disturbing aspect of human history found in various cultures around the world. In Babylon, the Aztecs, and many other civilizations, human sacrifices were performed to appease deities, to ensure the fertility of the land, or to gain favor in battle. These ancient practices are often attributed to the demands of the Anunnaki, who allegedly demanded servitude and maintained their power through the offering of human life. What many do not understand is that this practice never stopped. It simply went underground. Discussing the elite and their ceremonies to harvest energy is essential to understanding the Orion Federation's control. It is said that these ceremonies, often performed in secret locations and involving the targeting of children due to their vulnerable and pure energy, are a way for the elite to tap into a primal life force. This information is deliberately hidden, kept from the masses to maintain their ignorance and compliance. Those who seek the truth are often silenced or discredited, ensuring that the darkness remains hidden in the shadows. So-and-so was saying, the blood of the innocent is the ultimate currency of power. How is the truth about these practices hidden from the public eye? The answer lies in the manipulation of society through the media, a powerful tool used to shape our perceptions and control our thoughts. Consider the entertainment industry, filled with shows and movies containing hidden messages and predictive programming. These messages, often subtle and subliminal, are designed to target our subconscious minds, normalizing war, violence, and a culture of control. They tell us what they plan to do, hiding their intentions in plain sight, knowing that most people will dismiss it as mere fiction. What many do not know is that these messages are a form of hypnotic suggestion, programming us to accept a reality that serves the Orion Federation's agenda. The purpose of this manipulation is to shape our perceptions, influence our emotions, and undermine our empathy. It makes it hard to trust anyone, creating a climate of fear and division that keeps us from uniting against our oppressors. The constant bombardment of negative news and violent imagery desensitizes us to suffering, making us more compliant and less likely to resist. So-and-so was saying, the show must go on, no matter the cost. But are these plans for domination real, or are they simply the product of overactive imaginations? A defector from the Orion Federation confirms that the truth is far more shocking than we can imagine. Secret societies are used to manipulate, blood sacrifice still exists, and the media programs our minds. All of this connects to the central premise. The Orion Federation controls everything from behind the scenes. It is important to take all of this in, to understand the scope of their influence and the depth of their deception. But we're just scratching the surface. What we'll discover next are the final steps in their plan for total domination. What comes next will shock you to your core. Did you know that the reality you experience every day might not be real? What if it's a highly sophisticated simulation, meticulously crafted and manipulated by the Orion Federation to control and harvest human consciousness? And what if everything that you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell are all part of the Federation's creation? Today, we pull back the curtain and reveal the shocking truth about reality itself. The core of this unsettling question lies in understanding the nature of reality and the potential for simulated environments. Think of a base reality, the foundation upon which all other realities are built. Then imagine countless layers of simulated realities nested within, each indistinguishable from the base reality, yet ultimately controlled by a hidden hand. What if the Orion Federation has mastered the technology to create and maintain such a simulation, using holographic projections, complex energy fields, and subtle consciousness manipulation? Recognizing the potential for a simulated reality and the Federation's insidious control is crucial if we are to break free and reclaim our true selves. But how do we know if our reality is a simulation, or, perhaps more importantly, does it even matter? Evidence supporting the simulation hypothesis can be found in both ancient philosophical ideas and modern physics concepts. Let's begin by exploring some of these claims. Consider Plato's allegory of the cave, a timeless philosophical concept that speaks to the nature of perceived reality. In this allegory, prisoners are chained in a cave, only able to see shadows projected on the wall. They mistake these shadows for reality, unaware of the true world outside the cave. Could this be a metaphor for our own existence, with the Orion Federation acting as the puppet masters, projecting shadows onto the wall of our perception? So-and-so was saying, what is real? That which we perceive, or that which lies beyond our perception? Modern physics also offers intriguing insights into the nature of reality. Quantum mechanics, with its observer effect, suggests that reality is not fixed, but rather influenced by the act of observation. The uncertainty principle, which states that we cannot simultaneously know both the position and momentum of a particle, further challenges our understanding of what is real. Could these principles be evidence of a simulated reality, where the laws of physics are simply lines of code, waiting to be rendered by our observation. It is what we make it. Furthermore, alleged leaked documents discussing holographic technology have surfaced over the years, claiming that it is being used for mind control and social engineering on a mass scale. While these documents remain unconfirmed, the very possibility of such technology raises disturbing questions about the nature of our reality. If advanced holographic projections can be used to manipulate our perceptions, could the Orion Federation be using similar technology to create and maintain a simulated world? But what does this mean for our collective consciousness? How does living in a potential simulation impact our thoughts, emotions, and overall experience of reality? The simulation, if it exists, could be limiting our thoughts, controlling our emotions, and preventing us from reaching our full potential. It's as if we are living in a pre-programmed loop, where our choices are predetermined and our experiences are carefully curated. Consider this. What if every negative thought that pops into your mind, every moment of doubt and fear, is simply a line of code designed to keep you in your place? However, it's important to address some counter-arguments. Is free will an illusion if we are living in a simulation? What if we are simply non-player characters, NPCs, in someone else's game? These are valid questions that deserve careful consideration. Even if our reality is a simulation, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are devoid of free will. Perhaps the simulation is designed to test our choices, to see how we respond to different scenarios, or to even see how we break free. Maybe it's through free will that we escape the simulation. It's all about perspective. This leads us to another crucial point. Are we simply avatars within the simulation, unknowingly controlled by forces beyond our comprehension? And what if our energy is taken and our consciousness is being limited through the avatars we use? They want you to play the game. The concept of avatars and the illusion of control is central to understanding how the Orion Federation might be harvesting our consciousness within a simulation. The illusion is created to give people the feeling of control, making them believe they are making their own choices and shaping their own destinies. This feeling of agency is crucial for maintaining the simulation, as it prevents people from questioning the nature of their reality. People invest vast amounts of time, money, and energy into online games and virtual worlds, creating and customizing their avatars. They develop emotional connections to these digital representations of themselves, blurring the lines between the real and the virtual. But what if the Orion Federation can then hijack our avatar, using it as a conduit for control and manipulation? Think about your activity on the internet. Think about what you are interested in. The controllers can get a feel for what you like and how you will react to certain events. To hijack our avatar means that the Orion Federation can amplify their control within the game, manipulating our thoughts, influencing our decisions, and lowering our resistance to control. This is because within the virtual world our sense of self is often diminished. We may think, what does it matter? It's just a game. But the Orion Federation wants that attitude in the real world, making us complacent and accepting of their control. If you can control someone in a game, why can't you control them outside of it? This raises a further question. What if we rewrite the rules of the simulation? What if we learn the rules so we can break free? What if we break the code of our world? Cosmic cheat codes for liberation may exist, methods for changing the rules of the simulation and rewriting our own energy patterns. Throughout history, individuals have defied established norms, challenging the very fabric of reality and inspiring others to do the same. Consider Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Jesus, all figures who defied established authority and tapped into the human spirit. Defying the status quo is key. These individuals tapped into the human spirit, accessing a power that the Orion Federation can't touch, A defector from the Orion Federation so-and-so was saying, "There is always a way out and we can create our own destiny." So, what have we learned? The world may be a simulation. Avatars exist and are used against us. We can potentially break the code, rewrite the rules, and reclaim our freedom. What if the Orion Federation can't contain humanity forever? The implication of all of this is that there is always hope. Even if we are living in a simulation, we have the power to break free and create our own reality. What we'll discover next is that even if they try to control us, you will be free. Did you know that the illusion of our physical reality is more pervasive than you think? The line between what is real and what is not has blurred. It's happening every moment as we live and breathe. Our dependence on technology has become so ingrained that we often fail to recognize the extent to which it shapes our perceptions and experiences. But here's what most people miss. Humans are beings from another universe. They possess advanced quantum consciousness far beyond what we currently understand, yet are suppressed. Today, we will share how to unlock what was taken. Consider the ubiquitous cell phone, a device that has become an extension of ourselves. We use it to communicate, access information, navigate the world, and even entertain ourselves. But what if this seemingly innocuous device is also a tool for subtle manipulation? A means of monitoring our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors? Artificial intelligence takes this to the extreme by blurring our own creative power with complex algorithms. Every search, every post, every interaction is data that can be used to influence our perceptions. The quantum is the key to unlocking our true nature. By shifting our perspective and remembering who we are, we can begin to dismantle the illusion. What if everything we thought we knew about reality was simply a carefully constructed program designed to keep us enslaved? Is our physical reality truly an illusion? What evidence supports this claim? Ancient traditions, leaked documents, and the very principles of quantum physics converge to suggest that what we perceive as real is far more malleable than we imagine. Now, this is the account of the evidence and data. Consider Buddhism, which teaches that the world is Maya, an illusion that veils the true nature of reality. Similarly, ancient Mayan cosmology speaks of cycles of creation and destruction, suggesting that what we perceive as solid and permanent is merely a fleeting manifestation. These ancient traditions echo the sentiment that our physical reality is not as fixed as we believe. They're saying that what we perceive is only a fraction of existence. Alleged leaked documents have surfaced over the years, hinting at a future dominated by virtual reality. These documents describe technologies capable of creating immersive, indistinguishable simulations, blurring the lines between the physical and the digital. So-and-so was saying, imagine a world where you can live out your wildest fantasies, where the limitations of the physical world no longer apply. What if we are already living in such a world, unknowingly trapped in a simulation created by the Orion Federation? Quantum physics, with its mind-bending principles, provides further evidence that our physical reality is not as solid as it seems. The double-slit experiment demonstrates that particles can behave as both waves and particles, depending on whether they are observed. This suggests that reality is not fixed, but rather influenced by our observation, creating the illusion of control. What if our very act of observing solidifies the illusion, trapping us further within the Orion Federation's simulated reality? But what if the illusion is a deliberate setup, designed to prevent humans from understanding their true power? The core of it all is that the illusion limits our thoughts and awareness, preventing us from reaching our full potential. This all limits who we are. The illusion limits thought by bombarding us with distractions, propaganda, and misinformation, keeping us in a constant state of confusion and uncertainty. This prevents us from focusing our minds on what truly matters, hindering our ability to think critically and creatively. The illusion also limits awareness by keeping us focused on the external world, preventing us from looking inward and discovering our true potential. The controllers don't want you to know what is possible if you focus on what is within. But we have the ability to be conscious, to see through the illusion and recognize our true power. This requires trust in ourselves, in our intuition, and in our ability to discern truth from falsehood. And it's not about following blindly, but about awakening our inner knowing. The Anunnaki Code, according to some interpretations, holds the key to unlocking our consciousness. It is a matter of rewiring our brains, of breaking free from the limitations imposed by the Orion Federation and remembering who we truly are. To rewind our DNA back to the beginning, so-and-so was saying, it's time to remember who we are. This leads us to the next truth. Are we dreaming all of this? If we are, the implications are staggering. If we were to wake up, what would we find? And is it a truth they don't want you to know? What if our entire reality is a dream, a collective hallucination orchestrated by the Orion Federation? If so, the power to control our reality lies within our own minds. Imagine the power to manifest anything we desire, to heal ourselves, and to transcend the limitations of the physical world. And that power is suppressed by them. Lucid dreaming, the ability to become aware that you are dreaming while still in the dream state, offers a glimpse into this potential. In a lucid dream, you can create anything you desire, fly through the air, and explore alternate realities. This demonstrates the power of our minds to shape our reality, even within a dream, and it means that the power is yours. Research has shown that lucid dreaming is indeed possible, and that it can be cultivated through practice. Various techniques, such as affirmations and reality checks, can help us to become more aware of our dreams and to gain control over them. If it is possible in the dream state, it is also possible in the awakened state. Affirmations, the repeated recitation of positive statements, can help to reprogram our subconscious minds and to shift our beliefs about what is possible. Reality checks, such as asking ourselves, "Am I dreaming?" and looking for inconsistencies in our environment, can help us to become more aware of our surroundings and to recognize when we are dreaming. And the answer lies within. Elaborate the power that humans contain within lucid dreaming. Within a dream, you can do anything. As you overcome fear, the impossible becomes possible. And now you're free. Lucid dreaming is a process of self-discovery, a journey into the depths of our own consciousness. It requires courage, persistence, and a willingness to confront our deepest fears and insecurities. But the rewards are immeasurable. A defector from the Orion Federation was saying, "You can do anything in a dream." In a lucid dream, you can confront your fears, heal your emotional wounds, and discover hidden talents and abilities. You can also explore alternate realities, communicate with spiritual guides, and gain insights into the nature of reality itself. But this does not fit the agenda. Our world is an illusion, but lucid dreaming gives us a glimpse of the control that is possible. The final truth is that it is not by chance. The implication is clear. The answer is within us, and we are all connected to each other. They try to divide us, but we are one. What if we were to connect and change everything? Did you know that the ultimate key to dismantling the Orion Federation's control lies not in external battles, but within? It's not just about fighting their technology or uncovering their conspiracies. It's happening every moment as we live and breathe. It's about remembering our connection to Source, the true origin of all creation, something the Orion Federation desperately wants to keep hidden. Today, we delve into the very essence of existence, the wellspring of our being, and how the Orion Federation has systematically obscured it from humanity. The Orion Federation doesn't want humanity to know that there's an entire existence outside of their controlled matrix. The reality they present is carefully curated, a limited bandwidth of experience designed to keep us tethered to their system. This connects directly back to the Lyran struggle, the Anunnaki's manipulation, and the technological tools used to enforce this illusion. But beyond the Matrix lies Source, the true creator, the boundless ocean of consciousness from which all things originate. And in that truth lies our freedom. But what evidence supports the existence of this Source? This ultimate reality beyond the Orion Federation's control. Ancient esoteric texts, quantum physics, and the very nature of human inquiry all converge to suggest that it exists. Now this is the account of remembering the original truth. Consider the Emerald Tablets, ancient texts attributed to Thoth, which describe the All as the fundamental reality, the infinite, undivided consciousness from which everything emanates. The tablet reads, "O man, know ye that all space is filled with worlds within worlds, I, one within another. Yet all are one in the All." The Kybalion, another esoteric text, echoes this sentiment, proclaiming the principle of mentalism, stating that the All is mind. The universe is mental. These texts, revered for centuries, point to a singular, underlying reality, a oneness that permeates all of existence. This oneness is the Source. Quantum physics, the very science that attempts to define our reality, offers a parallel perspective. Quantum entanglement demonstrates that particles can be linked across vast distances, instantaneously affecting each other regardless of separation. This suggests an interconnectedness that transcends our limited understanding of space and time. The discovery of the God particle, or Higgs boson, further hints at a fundamental field that permeates all of reality, giving mass to matter and connecting everything in a subtle yet profound way. Many great scientists were quoted as saying, "We are all connected." Throughout history, humanity has consistently questioned the nature of life and the universe, seeking answers to existential questions that transcend the material realm. This inherent curiosity, this deep-seated yearning for understanding, is itself evidence of our connection to something greater, a source that calls to us from beyond the veil of illusion. Why have humans always questioned life? Because there is so much more. But if Source is the fundamental reality, why are so few aware of it? Why does the Orion Federation work so hard to keep it hidden? The answer lies in their understanding of consciousness and its power. Then, trauma frequency is broadcast to keep the human race unaware of their true origin. The Orion Federation understands that access to Source empowers individuals, allowing them to break free from the constraints of their manufactured reality. This is why they constantly broadcast trauma frequency, bombarding humanity with negative emotions like fear, anxiety, and despair. These frequencies act as a barrier, disrupting our connection to Source and keeping us tethered to their control matrix. A defector said, "The noise is always there, preventing them from hearing their own thoughts." Moreover, the Orion Federation promotes spiritual ego and the relentless pursuit of material possessions. By encouraging humans to identify with their egos and accumulate wealth, power, and status, they distract us from the true source of fulfillment, which lies within. We become trapped in the illusion of separation, believing that we are isolated individuals competing for scarce resources, rather than interconnected beings sharing a common origin. People focus on acquiring more things and in turn give the power away to that thing. Fear, perhaps the most potent weapon in the Orion Federation's arsenal, also keeps humans from Source. Fear of death, fear of the unknown, fear of each other. These emotions create a state of constant anxiety and vigilance, preventing us from relaxing into the present moment and connecting with our inner wisdom. We are so terrified of what might happen that we lose sight of what is. So, what have we learned? Esoteric texts describe a singular source, quantum physics hints at interconnectedness, and human curiosity drives us to seek answers beyond the material realm. Technology keeps Source at bay, and constant distractions prevent people from accessing Source. By design, we are separated from our origin. Accessing Source can break free from the illusion. What would it be like to be free? The implications are clear. Access to Source is the antidote to the Orion Federation's deception, the key to reclaiming our consciousness and creating a reality based on truth, love, and freedom. It's time to take the final step, to remember who we truly are and unlock the power within. But how do we access this source, this wellspring of infinite potential? Did you know that all forms of control, no matter how subtle or overt, lead to one inevitable destination? The death of the soul. The soul, that energetic essence, the very spark of divinity within each of us, is the ultimate target. This technology, these manipulations, they all aim to separate us from that core, to sever the connection, to extinguish the light. Protect your light within, for it is your only true defense. Let's dive deep into this concept of soul death. In many Eastern spiritual traditions, the idea of a reincarnation trap is discussed. This refers to a cycle of endless rebirth, orchestrated by unseen forces, designed to keep souls from evolving and ascending to higher realms of consciousness. But how does this relate to the Orion Federation? The elite, those human collaborators who serve the Orion Federation's agenda, crave energy. They seek to harness the life force of humanity, to siphon off our creative potential, our emotional power. But the soul does not simply die. The soul's energy is indestructible. What the Orion Federation seeks is not the annihilation of the soul, but its fragmentation, its imprisonment, its reduction to a mere battery within their system. The elite's current plan centers on artificial intelligence. What's really fascinating is how AI is not just a tool for control, but is being presented as the next stage of human evolution, a pathway to immortality, a digital afterlife. What they don't want you to know is that this is a deception. Let's consider why soul death is the ultimate goal for these beings. The universe in its infinite vastness requires energy to sustain itself. Source, that primordial consciousness, is the ultimate source of all energy, the fountainhead from which all creation springs. A universe without light, without consciousness, is a dark one, a stagnant one, a dead one. These wood gods, the Orion Federation and their human collaborators, seek to create just such a universe, a cosmos devoid of life, ruled by cold, unfeeling intellect. The consequences of this are dire. No free will, no emotion, only servitude to AI. What's really fascinating is how this future is sold to humans as something to desire. Can we stop all of this? The answer, whispered by the ancient ones, echoes through the corridors of time. Yes, if the light takes over. The final battle for the universe, the struggle between light and darkness, is not some distant cosmic event. It is unfolding here now within each of us. It can be stopped with collective consciousness. Humanity is capable of far more than it currently realizes. We possess the innate ability to create, to heal, to transform, to manifest a world of peace and abundance. The Orion Federation understands this, and that is why they seek to hijack our collective consciousness, to redirect our creative power towards their own nefarious ends. That is why they use technology. Technology is not inherently evil. But when used as a tool for control, when designed to manipulate and enslave, it becomes a weapon against the soul. The constant bombardment of electromagnetic frequencies, the addictive nature of social media, the subtle programming embedded within entertainment, these are all tools designed to weaken our connection to Source and to each other. But here's what most people miss. Technology is limited. That technology will not prevail. Technology does not love. Technology cannot comprehend the subtle nuances of human emotion, the boundless capacity for compassion, the unwavering strength of the human spirit. Technology cannot replicate the organic unity of a conscious collective, a group of souls working together in harmony. Humans have the natural ability to create a world. The key is to not give in to fear. When we succumb to fear, we relinquish our power, we allow the Orion Federation to dictate our reality. But when we choose love, when we embrace compassion, when we stand together in unity, we become an unstoppable force. Now, we prepare for a world of change. What are the keys moving forward? Humans can now take over with what they have learned, but there is one key thing they need. It is time to believe. There is no illusion, only love, light, and source. There will be a time to give up the old patterns. Orion wants to create AI. The universe is a place to thrive, but we're just scratching the surface. What we'll discover next is even more shocking. How these insidious technologies are so subtle, you don't even realize they're being used. But remember this, though the Orion Federation's control appears pervasive, the power to dismantle this control ultimately resides within you. Reclaiming your sovereignty begins with recognizing the multifaceted nature of their control system. Those insidious technologies, dream manipulations, Anunnaki deceptions, and societal structures we've explored. True freedom, however, stems from an internal shift in consciousness, from becoming aware and making active choices to create a new reality. And taking these concrete steps to reclaim our consciousness is more crucial now than ever before. So, what tangible steps can you, as an individual, take to break free from this subtle yet pervasive influence? It starts with cultivating inner awareness and learning to disconnect from the noise. One of the most powerful tools is mindfulness and meditation. Regular practice, even for a few minutes each day, has immediate neurological impacts, allowing you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, creating space between you and the constant stream of mental chatter that the Orion Federation uses to subtly program your subconscious. Shut the door to their incessant manipulations. Another crucial step is conscious media consumption. Recognize that everything you see, hear, and read is filtered through a lens of distortion. Actively seek out alternative viewpoints and sources of information. Question the narratives that are being presented to you, and develop your critical thinking skills. Learn to see through the propaganda and misinformation, to identify the underlying agendas that are at play. Be aware that this is not always obvious, and perhaps most importantly, master the art of emotional regulation. The Orion Federation preys on your emotions, using fear, anger, and anxiety to manipulate your thoughts and behaviors. Identify your triggers, those specific situations, people, or ideas that tend to elicit strong emotional reactions. Then, consciously replace those triggers with neutral or positive associations. When you feel yourself being pulled into a negative emotional spiral, take a deep breath, ground yourself in the present moment, and choose a different response. But how do these seemingly simple techniques create real change? The neurological basis for mindfulness and meditation lies in their ability to rewire the brain, to create new neural pathways that support more positive and empowering thought patterns. Regular practice strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for executive functions like attention, decision-making, and emotional regulation. This, in turn, allows you to become more resilient to manipulation and more capable of consciously directing your thoughts and actions. Critical thinking and media literacy are equally essential, for they allow you to identify propaganda and misinformation, to discern truth from falsehood, and to make informed decisions based on your own reasoning rather than being swayed by external influences. By questioning everything, by seeking out alternative perspectives, and by developing your own independent judgment, you can break free from the echo chamber of the mainstream media and begin to see the world with greater clarity. Moreover, these techniques are not merely about self-improvement. They are the keys to unlocking your potential and connecting with your true self, activating your Lyran codes, and remembering source. As you cultivate inner awareness, as you master your emotions, and as you sharpen your critical thinking skills, You begin to awaken dormant parts of your consciousness, to access hidden reservoirs of power and wisdom. These are the skills our ancestors knew intimately, which were slowly manipulated and taken away by outside influences. But what about the collective? What steps can humanity take as a whole to resist the Orion Federation's influence? The answer, whispered by the ancient ones, echoes through the corridors of time: unity. A united humanity, conscious, empowered, and working together for the common good, is its own army. One of the most effective forms of collective action is to support conscious communities, local groups that are focused on sustainability, healing, and spiritual growth. These communities provide a safe and supportive environment for individuals to come together, share their knowledge and skills, and create a more resilient and self-sufficient way of life. They are the seeds of a new society, a society that is based on cooperation, compassion, and respect for all life. Another crucial element is practicing conscious communication, engaging in respectful dialogue and debate with those who hold different perspectives. Resist the urge to demonize or dismiss those who disagree with you, but rather seek to understand their point of view and to find common ground. By engaging in open and honest communication, you can break down the barriers of division and create a more unified and harmonious society. Furthermore, support ethical businesses and vote with your dollars on companies that are committed to sustainability, fair labor practices, and social responsibility. By consciously choosing where you spend your money, you can support the creation of a more ethical and sustainable economy, one that is not based on exploitation and greed. But what is the true power of these movements working together, of conscious communities, conscious communication, and ethical commerce? It lies in their ability to create a more ethical and sustainable economy, one that breaks free from the Orion Federation's control, an economy that is based on cooperation, compassion, and respect for all life. This connects directly to quantum entanglement and the power of collective consciousness. When we work together, we can create miracles. Just as entangled particles can instantaneously affect one another regardless of the distance that separates them, so too can human beings, connected by the invisible threads of consciousness, influence one another and the world around them. What then is the single most effective action that humanity can take to break free from the Orion Federation's control? While collective action is essential, the ultimate key lies in an inner shift, a transformation of consciousness that radiates outwards and transforms the world around us. For love is the ultimate weapon. Unconditional love, not as a sentimental emotion, but as a powerful force that transcends all boundaries and heals all wounds. When you embody unconditional love, you create a shield of energetic protection around yourself that is impenetrable to the negative influences of the Orion Federation. It is a vibrational frequency that is so high, so pure, that it cannot be corrupted or manipulated. This also means forgiving those in darkness, even those who seem to be perpetrating evil. Recognize that they are simply acting out their own pain and trauma, that they are trapped in a cycle of darkness that they do not know how to escape. By extending compassion and forgiveness to them, you break the cycle of negativity and create an opportunity for healing and transformation. A loving world is not an impossible dream. It is a choice that rests in human hands. This closes the Anunnaki time loop. This awakens codes. But how do we embody unconditional love in a world that is filled with so much pain and suffering? It starts with cultivating compassion for yourself, healing your own inner wounds, and releasing the patterns of fear and self-doubt that hold you back. As you heal yourself, you become a beacon of light for others, inspiring them to heal themselves as well. Unleashing the power of the heart begins with focusing your intention on the highest good, aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with the values of love, compassion, and service. Embrace the source, the divine spark within you, and allow that light to guide your path. Connect it with every step to break free. Know that you are never alone, that you are always supported by the infinite love and wisdom of the universe. So, what have we learned? The time for the new world is here and now. We must recognize the Orion Federation's multi-layered control, that to take action through mindfulness, conscious consumption, and ethical commerce, as well as embrace unity, collective action, and unconditional love. Remember that the power to create a new reality lies within you, that you are not a victim of circumstance but a co-creator of your own destiny. The opportunity to ascend and create a world of freedom, love, and abundance is within our grasp, but we're just scratching the surface. What we'll discover next is even more shocking: the codes to open our minds. The time to awaken is now. The power is yours. As we reach the end of our cosmic journey through the Orion Federation's intricate web of deception, let us pause to reflect on where we began. Did you know the Orion Federation's plan to harvest human consciousness began before humanity even existed? Remember that question, for it holds the key to understanding our present predicament and our potential liberation. The question remains: how are they harvesting consciousness, and how do we stop them? From ancient soul contracts to the technological singularity, our journey has illuminated the many stages of this grand scheme, revealing the subtle and not-so-subtle ways in which our consciousness has been targeted. Now, let us bring it all together. The revelation stands clear. Humanity's consciousness is the target of an ancient, ongoing harvest. Through the manipulation of soul contracts, the deployment of frequency fences, the exploitation of cosmic resets, the subversion of spiritual movements, and the distortion of the Akashic records, the Orion Federation has sought to control our thoughts, emotions, and ultimately our destinies. Yet against this backdrop of control, we have also uncovered humanity's inherent ability to resist, to break free through consciousness shielding, the activation of starseed potential, the embracing of quantum entanglement, and the rewriting of timelines. But what if I told you that the Orion Federation, with all its intricate strategies and far-reaching influence, is not acting independently? What if they are merely a tool, a cog in a machine operated by a higher, unseen force? If the Orion Federation is a puppet, who are the puppeteers? Consider this. The forces that drive the Orion Federation may be far older, far more powerful, and far more deeply entrenched in the fabric of reality than we can presently comprehend. We may only be glimpsing the shadow of a much larger game, a cosmic chess match played out over eons, with entire civilizations as the pawns. Therefore, the battle for human consciousness is not merely a struggle against the Orion Federation. It is a struggle for the very definition of reality and the future of the soul. It demands that we not only dismantle external control, but cultivate inner sovereignty. By reclaiming our individual and collective consciousness, we seize the narrative of humanity, rewriting our story to one of love, hope, and creation. The quest to reclaim consciousness mirrors humanity's enduring struggle for freedom and self-determination. Just as our ancestors fought against tyranny and oppression throughout history, so too must we now rise up against the subtle but pervasive forces that seek to control our minds. This is not merely a political or social battle, but a spiritual awakening, a reclaiming of our divine birthright. In truth, these revelations invite a moral evaluation of our dependence on technology, authority, and control. If humanity succeeds in breaking free from the Orion Federation's control, what kind of civilization will we create? Will we embrace our potential for love, compassion, and co-creation, or will we repeat the mistakes of the past, falling prey to the same patterns of manipulation and control? What is our responsibility to protect other conscious beings from similar forms of manipulation and control in the universe? Are we prepared to become guardians of freedom, not just for ourselves, but for all sentient life? Despite the challenges and uncertainties, the potential for human awakening and transformation is limitless. As we peel back the layers of deception and reclaim our consciousness, we open ourselves to a universe of infinite possibilities. What lies beyond the veil of illusion? What wonders await us as we tap into the full potential of our minds and hearts? It is up to us to explore the vast mysteries of consciousness and the universe, to venture into the unknown with courage and curiosity, and to